Welcome to the Girls in Business podcast, where we'll be taking the bullshit out of business.
All things life, business and sisterhood.
With incredible women from our community.
Proudly brought to you by the Girls in Business movement.
The real stories, the honest truth. Business, growth, networking, connections and unfiltered fun.
With your host, Asha Louise Barber, multi-award-winning entrepreneur and founder of Gold Coast Girls in Business.
The Girls in Business podcast.
Get ready to laugh your ass off. With me! I'm going to get the giggles so much. All right. I don't know where I was going with that. What's my business called?
Beers.
Can we clean up aisle podcast studio? Boom, there it is. Okay. All right.
The Girls in Business podcast.
Today we'll be speaking with Lauren Bryant from Empower House. Lauren has been a member of Gold Coast Girls in Business from day one and is one of the strongest women I've had the privilege of reconnecting with through Gold Coast Girls in Business. Lauren is a survivor of domestic violence, skin cancer, a 4-car pileup, depression, and many other things. But Lauren is not only a survivor, she is a thriver. Lauren is a multi-award-winning business specialist and founder of Empower House, which she started as a vision to support local and national charities. And let me tell you, she has done an outstanding job. Kick off your shoes, grab a glass of wine, and let's get into it.
The Girls in Business podcast. All things life, business and sisterhood. Proudly brought to you by the Girls in Business movement.
The real stories, the honest truth.
With your host, Asha Louise Barber. Trigger warning. Today's episode may contain confronting topics and mature content. This episode is proudly sponsored by AC Farm. To find out more, head to acfarm.com.au.
Thank you for being here with us today, Lauren. We are thrilled to have you as our very first guest on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Let's get into it. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, I actually met Lauren. How old were we?
Like teenagers, 14, 15,
Yeah,
I might have been.
I think I was like 13.
Of years older than you.
I was, I think, very early teens. We didn't actually go to the same school together, but we were on the same bus before and after school. So we met then, and back then Lauren was this skinny, blonde-haired, big-boobed beauty that intimidated the shit out of me, if I'm honest. So what I want to know is, who was that young girl that I met back then, and what has led you on this path of amazingness to doing what you're doing today with Empower House?
Oh, wow. Back then, I was into all of the sports. That's why I was skinny.
You
Although
were
I thought
very
I was fat.
sporty, yeah. Oh, God, we still all, I think that about ourselves.
Oh, my God. I just hung out with really, really tiny girls and then felt like I was huge. But anyway, I was into all the sports. I don't know if you know this, but I moved up from Central Coast.
I think
New South Wales.
you've just flicked on that light bulb. I think I did know that, but
Okay, there you go.
didn't remember.
So I was a year older than everybody in my grade as well.
Yeah.
So I was ahead developmentally.
Yep.
we'll say. So I kind of stood out a lot. But what that meant was I was good at everything sports-wise. I was doing all the athletics and the cross-country. And by that stage as well, when I met you, I was doing pony club. So I was competing every second weekend. And I had done surf lifesaving and netball, and I'd been to state and district for basically
all
everything.
the things,
Yes. And then I would go to school and get straight A's, and then I'd go home and be a good girl as well. So there was a lot of pressure.
So basically you were the opposite of me back then, for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was lucky to even make it to school and not get kicked out. So you were definitely ahead of me.
Yeah, lots of pressure.
Yeah.
Lots of pressure. And I think at that point it was just before everybody kind of started to catch up to me.
Yeah.
You know, at 15, I think I stopped growing. So I'd been the tallest in my year for years.
For so long, yeah.
And then everyone got their growth spurts and caught up and surpassed me. So I was actually just on the cusp of having to discover a new identity.
Yeah.
Which thankfully I had horses, so I was absolutely horse mad. So that's who I was
They're
back
a good
then.
therapy too, I've heard. Like,
They're
for
so much better than boys also.
Oh, God, yeah.
It kept me out of so much trouble in high school.
Oh, see, I should have had a horse and not a boy.
You needed ponies.
Oh, that's awesome. That is, there's a lot of things I remembered about you, but a lot of them was like, because it was so long ago, it was a bus ride every day. It wasn't like we went to school together or hung out on the weekends and stuff. So it's really interesting. And I was wondering like who you were after you got off the bus, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to know.
I was a complete nerd, obsessed with horses, and used to be good at sports.
So what did you do after school? So what year level did you leave school?
I finished year 12.
Yep.
I was actually admitted into a uni program in year 10, but I didn't go. I'm really bad at public transport.
Yep.
And I got off the train up in Brisbane and South Bank to go to UQ and missed the bus and cried and came home and never tried that again.
Yeah.
So I only like things that I'm good at.
Yeah. So no public transport.
No, not my thing. But I went straight into work. I think I did a 10-day schoolies cruise with P&O and my best mate.
Oh, that would have been a good
like
idea.
16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. That was it.
Well, that would have been a crazy cruise.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were in New Caledonia, so that was cool. And then I just came straight into full-time work. I was already working for my dad in the panel shop.
Yeah.
By then, weekends and school holidays.
Yep. Okay.
No such thing as just chilling at home and watching cartoons or something.
Especially not when your dad's, running a business and the kids are there to work.
Right? Yes, it is a different kind of job.
Yeah, so you went straight from school into panel shop, basically.
Yeah.
So what was that like for a very beautiful blonde young girl with some pretty decent boobs at the time? How was that experience for you?
It was a mixed bag. If I'm honest, working for family, as you know, is really difficult.
Yes.
While my dad is a good person, he's very difficult to work with.
Yep.
And when you work and live together, it is compounded,
explosive,
right?
Yeah.
But also I was the only girl in the workshop. So I started in the workshop and I was, cleaning cars and helping the guys mask up and sweeping floors and stuff.
Yeah.
Then I moved into the office. Probably because I started dating one of the guys. I got moved into the office.
Yeah. Get her out of the workshop.
And I learnt the business though from the ground up by doing that.
Yeah.
So I can put a car together or pull it apart.
That is impressive.
Maybe not so well.
That'll make
or very quickly, but I can do it.
Yeah. The boys wouldn't like that very much, but
oh well, it depends on which side you're looking at it from. You don't want them watching you; it's weird. So the panel shop was really good because I got a really good education in how to run a business, how to deal with multiple staff, contracts, working with insurance companies, assessors, customers. I did the lot.
All those things that you wouldn't have learned elsewhere. Yeah.
Exactly. My dad had a bad back as well. So occasionally it would go out and it was just, here you go, Lauren, run a panel shop for a few weeks. I'll be back.
I'm taking a break.
And then also having that power shift where, okay, now you're in charge. But next week when Dad comes back to work, you got to hand it all back.
Yeah. Oh, it
really
was very
hard.
much the same with my family. Yeah. I was like, Dad's away, Asha's going to play.
And, I did big hours from a young age.
Yeah.
Working with my dad pretty much meant like you had to be really sick. If you think you're taking a sick day, you have to be on death's door, my friend.
Yeah.
So there was big hours. I got a good work ethic out of it. But the panel shops can be really toxic.
Yes.
These are, for the most part, guys who haven't, and I say guys because I've only known one female tradie in a 10-year period.
Yeah.
So the guys that you would work with, for the most part, haven't finished school, have worked in all-male industry the whole time. Or
environments, their team.
Yeah, literally the whole time. There's a lot of hazing if you're an apprentice.
Yeah.
There's all of these things that they get away with because it's boys with boys kind of thing. Boys will be boys.
The culture.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Which is fucking bullshit, yes.
And so I had to learn how to be quite tough. I've never been a shrinking violet by anyone's standards, but you really have to learn how to be quick.
Give it back to them.
You have to give it back to them. You have to be really hard.
Stand your ground in a way.
I spent a lot of time being really hard. And I've actually had to unlearn all of that since leaving.
I was going to say, I kind of did the same thing growing up in a very aggravated male environment. None of them were like, they were all on a power trip. And if they weren't on a power trip, they were well and truly intoxicated. So I had to just be tough and give it back and stand my ground. But I think I did it so much for so long to a point that it became a part of who I was and a part that I hated. Yeah. So it's, unlearning that is probably something that I'm still trying to do now. But it was like putting a guard up for these people that thought they could just treat you however they want, however they felt, like you're a little dog or like a pet. Yeah. And I was like, you can fuck off. That is not fucking happening. Yes. So, that's interesting you said unlearning that, because I think that's a good point. Like, you do sort of build up you have to for your own safety and your own sake, but I think you forget to pull those walls down eventually. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard to turn that off as well. Even if you just worked 5 days a week, say a 40-hour week, that's a lot of time that you're spending as that person. So to switch that off at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and turn it back on a Monday, it's not really happening.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
The Gold Coast Girls in Business podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by AC Farm.
So for anyone that knows Lauren's business in Powerhouse, you'll know that she has done some incredibly amazing things for local charities. But something you might not know, and something that I just found out, which blew my mind, but is definitely a credit to who Lauren is and what she's been through in her life. Lauren turned her 30th birthday into a charity fundraiser for a local women's refuge. I just really want to know a little bit more about why you made that decision, because my 30th birthday was for me, honey, and I didn't care who was there, what was there. I was just having a good party. So as thinking back to a 30-year-old woman, what was it that made you want to do such an amazing thing?
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. To just preface this, I had 2 birthdays, but the major event was the charity fundraiser. Yeah. And that was for a local women's refuge. I did also, on my actual birthday, which I think was like a Thursday or something. Yep. Mum and I went for a day spa, and then I had a family lunch as well. So I did do.
Still,
I had
let's
a little
not take away your 30th birthday party was a charity fundraiser, which is fucking incredible.
P.S. The best way to sell all of the tickets for your event is to make it your birthday, because then your friends have to come.
Good point. My birthday's coming up, so keep an eye out for the invites.
Look, I was in my first relationship with domestic violence when I was 19. Okay. This person, I was 19. I didn't understand what he was doing at the time. Yep. He wasn't very nice to me, but as we're just talking about, like, I'm used to men not being nice to me, right?
It's just something that over time, it might just be what I deserve or how it is. That's just how it is.
This isn't registering to me as unusual. Yeah. Men
totally agree with you.
Talk to me like this all the time. Okay.
It means they love me.
Right. That girl had a few things to learn. So he was he would say shitty things, and he was a bit pushy and that sort of thing, but he was stealing my money and, like all of this kind of thing. So at the time, I kind of didn't realize what was going on until I really did. Yeah. He attacked me after I proved that he had been cheating on me, and probably a trigger warning was needed at the start of that, but he tried to strangle me because I proved it. And she came to me at work and spoke to me at work, and then for some reason went back and told him. So anyway, that's how that ended. So at 19, I had experienced domestic violence from someone who would say, I love you, and then would push me. Yeah.
Yeah. And such a young age too. That's
you think that you know everything at 19. I knew everything. Yeah. I was ready to take on the world. You can't tell me anything. Yeah. No, exactly my friend, you were a child. You were literally a teenager.
Yeah, that got me locked up. So at 19.
There we go.
That's another podcast.
Next episode. Yeah. And I actually met my next ex-boyfriend 2 weeks after this guy had attacked me. I was still bruised and scratched and all the things.
Oh, wow.
So when I say to people, listen, I've probably seen and been through it all. Yeah. You can't say things that are going to shock me.
Yeah.
I can probably empathize. Like I'm telling you the truth.
You've been through so much. You just know the emotions. Yeah.
At 21, I left my second domestic violence relationship in the middle of the night with my suitcase and anything else I could carry.
Yeah.
I had $70,000 worth of debt to my name. This guy had spent everything on my credit cards. The one before convinced me to get a new car, even though I already had one. Yep. Like, just all the things.
Oh, they're good,
I was really bad at money.
Yeah.
For someone that, had been in business for a while already. Like, I was really bad at personal finances.
Yeah. I think a lot of us can relate to that even now still. And it's not something that's, like, shared a lot. Like, the value of that's not shared a lot, I don't think. And it's something that younger girls and younger females should be taught a lot about is, like, don't go and get yourself into all, and especially not for no fucking man. Like, God damn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or looking good on Instagram as it goes these days.
Yes. Well, just use a filter. It's free. Love yourself, ladies. Love yourself.
And your money.
Yeah.
So the reason that I turned my 30th into a charity fundraiser is because of my experiences.
Yeah.
By this stage, I had already started Empower House, and I started that because I wanted to create a way for me to help other women not be in that position or leave that position.
That is so beautiful. So you've taken like the most pain you've ever had in your life and you're turning it around just to ensure that others don't go through the same pain. And that, to me, is priceless and just the most beautiful gift you could give to anyone else to make sure that they don't go through it, or at least learn away from what you've been through to get out quicker or to feel safe quicker or know that you can do it on your own. And
I think one of the big things is money.
I should have brought fucking tissues.
It's okay. It's okay.
So that is, and you should be so proud of yourself for
Thank you.
For getting through that and sharing your story like you are today. But what you've done with your business and still today, every day, what you do for charities and the local community is fucking incredible. So thank you.
It's important.
It is important. It's very important.
I'm not the only one out there doing these things. So it's
awesome
important to be in a community that wants to support the wider community as well.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Women supporting women, you.
Yeah, exactly. So while we're on the topic of community and sharing with wider communities, I just want to ask you, how has being in a community like, and you've now even created your own community with Empower House, which is amazing. I still sound like I'm going to cry, but I promise you I'm not. It's just my voice shaking. So what has that done for you personally and professionally, being inside a community of, business women that are safe and supportive? And
I really needed it. I came from the panel shops. Yeah. After I finished working with my dad, I worked in another panel shop and I had a bigger team and more clients, and the phone rang all day, and it was nonstop.
Yeah.
And then I moved from there into financial advice, and I was in an office of 50. And when I stopped working there, I started Empower House, and I was at home, me and the dog who's snoring on the floor. Yeah. And I was like really isolated.
Yes.
It was really difficult, and more difficult than I think I had really thought through.
Yeah.
I mean, the life I'm living now, I fantasized about when I was in the middle of a panel shop with all these dudes that I had had enough of.
Yeah.
And the same complaints from clients and the same problems with insurance companies. I was like, yes, I want to work for myself. I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna end domestic violence in a generation. Like I'm gonna be the best life coach ever.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I've been in business for nearly 7 years and I've had 2 life coaching clients. People want me for my business acumen. So anyway, the point being that I was really, really lonely at home working for myself, and I went, okay, what can I do? Networking events. So I went to a few of them.
Yeah.
And I didn't make a single connection. And I think that was the thing for me, is family and community are really big values for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to connect with other people who would understand
the same.
Because I had all these friends who were all 9-to-5 employees and didn't really get it.
Yes.
Whereas I've dabbled in entrepreneurship my entire life.
Yeah.
I've been a babysitter before I could have a job. I've sold diet pills. I did promo modeling.
Yeah.
Like I've worked
tried
in Costco.
everything.
I've done all of
it.
it.
That's what I find with when I speak to women, well, because I've been the same. I've done a little bit of everything you can think of. Like even last year or the year before, in the middle of having Gold Coast Girls in Business at its peak, I went and got a high-risk riggers and doggers license.
Yeah.
I can work on tower cranes now, bitches. But why did I do that? I don't fucking know. I just felt like trying something different.
Yep.
And I can say that I've tried it. But I did hairdressing, spray tanning, nails, waxing, like you name it. I have tried at least once. And it was just, finding something that I was really passionate about, and it ended up being building a community to help other people.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It's crazy.
Funny side note, you know the hair salon that you used to have?
Yes.
I did my school-based hair apprenticeship there before you
way.
Bought it. Yeah, from the people you guys bought it from.
So funny story.
So, crossover.
My dad's business initially was Highland Park Tavern, so that was in Narang.
That.
That's obviously where I grew up from primary school. I was in there every day, which is where the whole being surrounded by males and not the best ones, came into it. But then, so I was a bit of a shithead of a kid. Actually, I was the worst. I was the worst child. They used to call me they still do. I was the wild child, and that everyone still say it to me now. Do you remember when you were little? And everyone would say to my dad and mum, if Asha's not rich when she's older, she'll be in jail. And honestly, it could have gone either way. It still could. But my dad had enough of me getting in trouble at school or just so entrepreneurship. I was selling cigarettes on the oval to make a bit of money when I was a child. Like, honestly, I was not doing the best things, but I knew where it was going to take me eventually.
Yeah.
So he'd had enough. And I came home from school one day and he's like, that's it. You're out of school. I was like, beauty. Excellent. Put me in the pub. He's like, nah, I've bought you a hair salon. You've got to deal with this now. Run a business. You act like an adult. Go and be an adult.
Here's some adult problems.
Well, that hair salon didn't last too long. Because, But, that's so funny that you did your school-based traineeship there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a complete segue.
Yeah. We get at that.
What was I saying before? Oh, the networking events.
Yes.
I met all these people. I got all these business cards. There was zero connection.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, well, that sucked. I'll try another one. My motto has always been, I'll try anything twice.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always work out well for me, but hey, I know I don't like that situation.
There you go. And you didn't just try it once, you tried it twice.
I tried a few, and at that time, there wasn't a quality networking event that I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And I figured that if I walked out feeling the way that I did, other people were doing the same.
The same thing.
So
exactly.
I started the brunch club. I think about the same time that you started Gold Coast Girls in Business.
It was very close timing because Lauren actually contacted me and I spoke at one of her first, maybe even your first event.
One.
And when she asked me, I was like, does she know who I am? Like, has she asked the right person? Why does she want me to speak at her event? But she had seen like the power of that group so quickly grow. And I think you knew straight away.
That exploded.
Yeah. So I was Lauren's very first speaker and that was my very first speaking event ever.
I love that.
So random.
And that was nearly 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years ago, I think in July.
Yeah, okay. So it's Gold Coast Girls in Business is 6 years in November. So it would have literally been a few months after. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Small world.
I love who it brings.
Yeah.
I set up the brunch club in a way that in an event that I wanted to attend. So no sales pitches, no business cards.
That's when it works.
And having a guest speaker who you're paying to speak as well so that they feel like their time is being paid for, really. Yeah. And it takes away that feeling of needing to present a certain way, of needing to sell something on the day to make this worth being here.
Yeah.
And that gives people permission to just be themselves.
Yes.
To turn up as they are.
I think that's where networking events too are a little bit misconstrued in people's minds. Some people are like, yes, there's an event I can go sell all my shit at. Yeah. That's not what a networking event is or should be. It's about personal and genuine connections between two humans.
That's business, right?
That's business. And that's where I think a lot of these networking events that before we sort of came to town or came back to town or whatever you want to call it, a networking event was you go to a breakfast function or a lunch function, you hand out a business card, twirl in a circle for a minute and then you fuck off and hope someone calls you.
Yeah.
That is that's why I'd never stepped foot in a networking event before in my life. Like I just wouldn't have been comfortable, and I'm not there to be sold something or sell something. So your event was amazing because you would sit down and have a conversation, just a normal conversation. And that's when you learn and you grow and you get value from someone because they're open to sharing that with you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
It was amazing. It was beautiful. And it's obviously a credit to Empower House, how it's grown and evolved over all these years.
People love it.
They do.
They need time to be seen and heard. And I think that was what was important.
Yeah.
And it's grown and grown and grown. And then I won a couple of awards last year and people started coming.
Did you?
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question, actually. So for those of you who are sort of either new to our community or don't know too much about Gold Coast Girls in Business, we launched the Gold Coast Girls in Business Awards back in 2019, I believe it was. COVID obviously threw us out for a few years, but we came back stronger than ever last year with, I think there was over 700 nominees, like over every category. There was 280 people at the event, and Lauren took home 3 awards that night. Out of all of those people, 3 major awards, and I think you were a finalist in another 3.
I was top 3 in my 4th category.
Holy shit.
For service excellence.
So Lauren won the Gold Coast Girls in Business Businesswoman of the Year, which is literally the top award, plus the Innovation Award, plus the Most Charitable Award, which obviously from what you've heard already, that was a no-brainer. So tell us, how did that feel? Because even when, and I'm like the creator and the host of that event, but I have nothing to do with the judging. So when I received my paperwork of who was the winners, I was just like, holy fuck, like winning one award is fucking special, but 3, that must have been, how did that feel? How did that feel for you?
Still feels unbelievable.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Like, did that really happen?
Yeah. I felt like it was me winning them too. I'm like, oh my God. Honestly, I remember ringing someone being like, I can't run into her or see her before the event because I'll be like, you've won 3 awards. Don't say shit. Shut your mouth. I had to hide for most of that event before, because otherwise I was like, I'm gonna blow the surprise. But
it was a great night.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun. I had friends at different tables as well, so you could really hear them going off.
Yeah,
and then I had all of these like paparazzi shots as well from the girls, so it was cool.
Oh, that's so good.
I had a great time. I still can't believe I won them all. It's the first awards I've ever entered.
Wow.
Last year I entered Australian Small Business Women's Champion Awards and Gold Coast Girls in Business.
Wow.
So I was a finalist in Australian Champion Awards and I was a finalist in yours as well,
that
obviously.
That is insane.
That's
amazing.
So it was pretty cool.
Yes.
But I still can't believe it.
Yeah. And has that done anything for your business or your clients? Did they get all excited?
My clients got really excited. It gave me a good reason to redo my website and a bit of motivation to do that.
Yeah.
And I definitely saw more people turning up at my event.
Yeah.
I think I just became a bit more visible.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea with awards is enter them, like back yourself.
Exactly.
I was nominated by a friend of mine, Joyce, who is gorgeous. And I really appreciated that. So I wouldn't have entered myself had she not nominated me. But I think that's the thing is back yourself and nominate yourself and then don't just sit there quietly and be like,
I honestly love seeing those nominations come through.
Yes.
And when someone believes in themselves and what they're doing and the way they speak about themselves brings you to tears. It makes you so, because it's hard for a lot of women or even a lot of people in general to speak nicely about themselves and to believe in what they're doing and know that they're doing good. So I love seeing women who can do that because I'm like, that'll be me one day. I'll be able to do that,
More of it.
Yeah, more
I want to see
of it.
more of it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's really cool. That's so good to hear about the awards. I'm so glad that that's helped you become more visible too because you are someone who should be given a voice and a platform. So I'm glad we could give you that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The Girls in Business podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by AC Farm. AC Farm is one of Australia's largest compounding pharmacies located in Ashmore on the Gold Coast. For those of you who don't know what a compounding pharmacy is, we specialise in compounding a wide range of custom medications within our pharmaceutical labs. These medications include natural hormone replacement therapy, medicinal cannabis, prescription skincare, nutritional supplements, children's and veterinary medications, and so much more. On top of that, we also offer private label skincare, a range of high-quality, pharmacist-formulated skincare products with a selection of packaging and label designs to create your own branded skincare range. Think we might be able to help? You can contact us online at www.acfarm.com.au or call our friendly team today on 0755 265 422. Experience the AC Farm difference today.
Okay, Lauren, so if you could go back to that skinny, big boobed, blonde-haired girl on the bus and tell her one thing that you, standing here today, could tell that young girl, what would it be?
Oh, just one thing. I think that she really needed to know that even when you're not winning, you're still deserving of love.
Yeah.
I think she needed to know about having a better relationship with herself and understanding really who she is at her core so that she didn't feel like she had to fit in.
Yeah.
Because standing out is why I've been able to achieve things other people haven't. I have gone left when other went right. I've done things that other people probably wouldn't have done in the way that they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And it's worked. And I think if I sat back and like got into the little box that other people wanted me to sit in, my mum wanted me to go to uni, they want me to have a full-time job. Mum still says to me now, like, when are you going to get a job again? I'm like, calm down. I've been working for 7 years in my own business.
Yeah.
Or almost 7 years. So I really think that 13, 14-year-old girl really needed to know that even when you're not winning, because that's all I was doing.
Was trying to win. Yeah. Being competitive.
You were still worthy of being loved even when you're not winning.
Yeah.
You know, the winning isn't what makes you. Not the whole,
if you're not first, you're last. That is not right.
No. And yeah, just really understanding that she's enough.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the lesson.
I think that is probably the best thing you could have said. And for the generation or just the time that we're living in right now, I am so thankful, this is kind of sad, but I'm so thankful that I have 2 boys and not a young girl, because I really worry about with social media. Like when we were growing up, we didn't have a phone. We didn't have internet. Like I think people, like younger people do forget that too. That's why like I was a bit more of a naughty child. I think I didn't have an outlet or any knowledge of anything outside of my world. I didn't know about communities. I didn't know about women supporting women. I honestly, that was an entire new world for me. So I do worry about young girls these days, and with filters and I use them too, and I probably use them more than I should, but I want young girls to know at the age of 13 and 14 that communities like us do exist, and that if they're feeling lost or confused now, that there is an option to reach out, and when they leave school, it's not just you're on your own, but just having that, loving yourself and believing in yourself no matter where you're at in life. But those younger girls, I feel like I really need this community more than we even did back then.
Yeah.
Because of how much shit they've got going on in their world and in their face all day long and all night long. Like it doesn't shut off for them.
It doesn't.
So I couldn't even imagine what they go through.
What you're saying there as well about having the filters and everything. I mean, we didn't have social media until I think I was early 20s. Maybe Facebook came out then.
Yeah.
But what we were doing, though, was actually being seen in public. So for me, and I actually caused a lot of my own problems.
Yeah.
I told you when we were getting ready for this podcast that I've had skin cancer and melanoma. And all in my 20s, DV, massive car accident.
If you could go through anything, you couldn't have gone through more than this poor woman did in a very short period of time. But look where you are today.
There was a lot. But the thing was, for me, was I didn't think I looked pretty enough because all of my friends could get a tan. And all of the girls in the magazines and all of this sort of thing, they were tanned.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at me. I have white Irish skin. I'm not naturally dark. I am strawberry blonde. I am an Irish girl from way back.
Lauren actually told me this story this morning when we were getting ready. And it was because when I met Lauren, she was long blonde hair. And today she's got very dark hair. And she told me there is actually a reason behind this. And I think that would be a nice message to share too. Like bit off topic. I've just thrown her in the deep end here. But when you told me that, it was like a big shock to me, actually.
It's very on topic still. It's about changing yourself in order to fit in order to be treated a certain way. So when I was working at the panel shop, I was a size 6. I do this thing where I will hit everything at its full intensity. So I did this thing where I was doing the diet shakes and hitting the gym twice a day, 6 days a week. So I was very small, and then I was very, very blonde, and I was very, very tanned. I dyed my hair dark because people wouldn't take me seriously and they would have conversations with my chest instead of with my face.
Yeah.
And my dad's standing like 6 feet away. Like, come on, guys. Treat me as a
really
human being a little bit here. And I'm wearing a polo shirt and stuff. Like I was always dressed quite nicely for a panel shop, like proper business skirt, heels, polo shirt, uniform. Like I was actually, you know, I was modest. Not that that has anything to do with anything. People are just shitheads.
It does, yeah. People play into that. If you were dressed, well, you probably, asked for it.
Yeah.
Fuck, no, we didn't.
There's a lot that I can say on that topic too. I did not ask for the treatment I received. Yeah. When she's unconscious, it's a no.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So the things that I have done is change my hair color so that people will treat me differently. And they did. The moment that I became a brunette, people actually took stock in what I had to say. Fine, I was 20, but I still had an intelligent brain in between my ears. Yeah. I was articulate. I always have been. I can swear like a sailor, absolutely. But I learnt that in a panel shop, my friend. Yeah. And then I also spent a lot of time in tanning beds. And this was the thing of my generation certainly was.
Yes, it was a big thing on the Gold Coast
tanning. I mean, if you weren't spray tanning, if you weren't at Sun 7, do you remember Sun 7?
Yes.
I was there 2 or 3 times a week in a sunbed. And then I would actually go out in the sun as well. So when I got my melanoma diagnosis, I think I was 26 or 27 at that point. I looked up the list basically, and it was family history. The reason I got my skin checked was because my dad had a melanoma. Yeah. He had a 30 centimeter piece cut out of his back.
Oh, wow.
Because these things, like, they can only be like a millimeter wide and then they grow.
Yeah. My grandpa had this melanoma and it went from here to, it was his whole body, and then he passed from that. So
exactly. And I was very fortunate the way that I had it. They found something. It was less than a millimeter.
Oh, lucky.
But the piece that they cut out of my back, and I can show you this even in this skirt that I'm wearing, if you imagine an almond or an eye shape, that's what she cut out of my back. It was 6 centimeters wide. Wow. And at the top to bottom, it was 3 centimeters high and then a centimeter deep for a melanoma less than a millimeter.
I have heard this. They have to take a big margin. Much wider area. Yeah.
Yeah. So the list was lots of sun damage, family history, white Irish skin, all of these kinds of things. And I could pretty much, and a previous personal history of having melanoma. Yeah. So all of these things give you a higher risk. And I mean, we're on the Gold Coast in Queensland. Yeah. We live in the sun. That is like
the hot scorching.
This is what we do. Yeah. Everything we do is in the sun. So going and doing the sunbeds, I was injecting that melanotan as well. This is still a thing
that's happening, and the nasal sprays and stuff.
Guys.
Oh my God,
so dangerous.
I was lucky I didn't really get too heavily into the tanning beds, but I felt the same. I was always very white compared to other girls, and that was still a thing today that I struggle with. But I spray tan. Yeah. So I don't go out and sunbake, or I don't lay in sunbeds, and I don't inject shit in my body to become tan, because I know with my family history, I've got a much higher risk. Yeah. But some of these girls know that they've got a high risk and are still doing it because the thought of just not fitting in, because that's what society tells them isn't cute or isn't pretty, or is still making them go, I'd rather get, melanoma and possibly die to look good for a couple of years. That is honest. That's the way our brains are thinking, and it's so deeply ingrained in us that we have to be perfect and beautiful, and if I don't look like that, I can't do this. And I had a story the other day about a lady who wanted to be a news reporter, was told she was too ugly. And then, you know, I've been told that my voice wasn't good enough for radio. So like it's just this thing that it will stick with especially young women and carry. Like, how old are you today?
I am almost 35.
And you still have your dark hair because
well, now I like it.
Yeah.
I did dye my hair rose gold and like a peach pink a few years ago. But there's a lot of upkeep. This is so much easier.
Yes, yeah, dark is definitely where it's at.
Just when I start going grey, I might have to rethink it.
Yeah, well, I'm already there. I just keep colour with you all the time because the greys come out fierce.
Yeah, I just think it's really important to understand what your personal qualities are. And it doesn't, I think there's that really beautiful quote from Roald Dahl, and, you know, you can have crooked teeth and all of those things, but the way that you are on the inside will shine out of your eyes like sunbeams.
Yeah.
I've totally butchered that. I'm well aware of that.
But I know exactly
that's the
what you
idea.
mean.
It's the way that you think and feel and treat other people, and that's what they will see.
That's
some
what
of the
people are
most
receptive
beautiful
of. Yeah.
people that I have met have been the cruelest and the shallowest.
Yeah.
And when you spend more time with them, they're not so pretty anymore.
Yeah.
They're kind of lackluster.
You can see, you can definitely see people from the inside out.
Yeah.
And
a tan doesn't
energies-
cover that up.
Oh, absolutely not. Especially when it's injected. Oh, my God. What the hell is going on with the world? But anyway, I hope especially your skin cancer journey can at least scare one person off going into those sunbeds, because they are, and they're underground now, so they are illegal, but they're still happening.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Well and truly, which is very scary. That's it. No more sunbeds.
No more sunbeds. Stop it.
You can find us at www.goldcoastgirlsinbusiness.com.au or on Facebook at The Girls in Business Movement and Instagram at gc.girlsinbusiness or at girlsinbusiness.podcast.
All things life, business, and sisterhood.
Okay, Lauren, so one last question before we start to wrap everything up. I just want to know, what is it today that keeps you going and keeps you doing what you're doing within Powerhouse, because it is such an incredible movement, and I'd love to know what it is that drives you every day.
Okay, cool. I think something that I didn't share with you over the podcast, I know I told you this before we came today, but I have had anxiety, depression, PTSD, most of that from a massive car accident when I was 24 or something. But also, obviously, there's some outlying things there. I was diagnosed with PTSD after the car accident.
Okay.
Which makes sense when you get in and start crying every time you want to start your car.
That would be so bad.
Hectic. It was the worst.
That was a 4-car pile-up too, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4 cars on the M1.
Was anyone seriously injured, or touch wood?
I mean,
no one was?
The girl behind me was hit at 110. We all stopped, and the guy behind her
didn't
hit her at 110.
Oh, shit.
I think he was on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
So she copped the most of it, and then me, and then the guy in front of me.
Wow.
So she would have been the worst impacted, I think.
Yeah.
I had a really, what do they call it? Like a grade 3 or 4 whiplash or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it meant that I couldn't make my bed. I couldn't put my hair in a ponytail. I was medicated.
Just couldn't move too much at all. Yeah.
Just couldn't pick my arms up above my shoulders.
Wow.
And then all of the other things that come with that, fatigue and having to take these medications. I was on Valium and Panadine Fort and anti-inflammatories.
Right out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty difficult, just losing a lot of independence in that way. Anyway, the things that keep me going are daily habits, knowing that I'm contributing, having a community, and with everything that I have been through in my 20s, I genuinely didn't know if I was going to make it to 30.
Yeah. Oh, we're so glad that you did.
So I am just happy to be here and just living on purpose.
Oh, that is so
it's
beautiful.
It's nice to be here, guys.
Yeah. It is great to be alive, isn't it?
It's so good.
Oh, that was a beautiful answer. Don't make me cry again. This is episode 1. Fuck. All right. Now, before we've got one little game to play before we wrap everything up, but I just wanted to ask you, and I think I might ask every guest, because I'm a big sucker for a beautiful quote or something that's just resonates with you and has changed your life. So is there a quote or a saying that you've come across in your 7 years out on your own that's just stuck with you or that you think about to get through certain situations?
I was talking about I'll try everything twice, and it's probably got me into some trouble. There is, I think it's a Dolly Parton quote, and it says something about learning from other people's mistakes because we haven't got enough time to make them all ourselves.
Oh, yes, that's a great one. So what I'm going to do is if you're listening to this podcast at the moment, I'm going to put on the Gold Coast Girls in Business website under each episode and speaker all your social links and handles, but that quote as well. So each person will have their own quote underneath that with all their links. So while we're on that topic.
It's very Real Housewives.
Oh, it is, honey. Real Housewives of the Gold Coast.
Yeah, love it.
So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you online?
So my website is Empower House Online. On Facebook, they're empowerhouseonline.com, sorry. On Facebook, I have a Facebook group called the Brunch Club Events, where you can advertise your business, share Wednesday wisdoms, events, all that sort of stuff. I post all of my networking events into there as well.
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook under Empower House. You can find me on Instagram at empower.house.
Beautiful.
On TikTok at empower.house.
Excellent.
And I have a second Instagram account just for my events, which is at the Brunch Club Events.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I will, as I said, I will pop all these on our website. So if you want to jump on and find Lauren through that way, then head to www.goldcoastgirlsinbusiness.com.au and just head to the podcast page. Okay, Lauren, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing some of your amazing journey. I know we probably could speak all day and all night long, but I am very, very appreciative of your time, and I'm so blessed to have you not only in our community, but be able to have you on this platform to share with not only the locals in our community, but the world about what you've been through and where you are now. And even though you've been through some of the fucking worst shit you couldn't even imagine, you're today out here trying to make other people's lives better. And that's a beautiful thing to see. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you for sharing your love with everybody today.
Thank you.
But before you go,
Okay.
I'm going to be one of those people, and we're going to do a game.
Okay. I'm here for it.
This is called This or That, and I'm going to rattle off two things, and you just choose whatever comes to your mind first. This or that.
All right, go.
So, coffee or cocktail?
Oh, fuck. Coffee.
Shit, you have to think about that. Cocktail.
I can't function.
Yeah. Dancing or reading?
Reading.
Xero or QuickBooks?
Zero.
Podcasts or ebooks?
Podcast.
Email or messenger?
Email.
Asha or Oprah?
Asha. I don't know Oprah.
Well, there you go. That was the perfect answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. I'm going to get up and give you a cuddle, so I'm going to get this microphone out of my face. But once again, please head to the website if you want to find Lauren, or head to our socials and we'll be promoting you on there. Thank you so much for being here today, Lauren.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yay.
It's so exciting. Oh, thank you.
Today's episode is sponsored by AC Farm.
You can find us at www.goldcoastgirlsinbusiness.com.au or on Facebook at the Girls in Business Movement and Instagram at gc.girlsinbusiness or at girlsinbusiness.podcast.